All right, my friends, so today we're going to talk about how to structure your session. We're going to break it down into 3 phases. The first one's warm-up. The second one is your main session, because I didn't think about it, what I would want to call it. And then the third one is cooling down. So now, a lot of times when people are warming up, we'll start with warm-up. When people are warming up, they think that it could be done with push-ups, jumps, but because skateboarding is very specific as far as like connecting the whole body when you're skating, you want to make sure that you're including a warm-up that has to do on your board. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with, you know, doing some jumps or anything or push-ups, but you want to make sure you're connecting this part on the board, not just your body, you know, in movement. So now, having said that, a lot of people try to bypass that blood flow and that like mental focus that they get with a warm-up by just drinking caffeine, energy drinks, or, you know, trying to listen to some music that's gonna hype them up. And even though that can help, you don't want to depend completely on it. So having considered those 2 aspects, I want to, you know, introduce you to the idea of only trying tricks in your warm-up that you know you're gonna land. This is because you want to make sure you're starting off your session on a good start. You know, you don't want to be trying a trick and then like making that the main battle when all you're trying to do is accomplish fine-tuning, you know, your body with the board, warming up. And so some tricks that I like to do if we're just skating at a street spot like mariachi, where I could just access a 4-stair, if you want to see over there, 4-stair, or some flat ground, is I make sure to just warm up on flat or do some simple tricks off the stage, maybe even a manual or nose manual, depending on how that warm-up is feeling. And this is also important, all days aren't going to be the same. There's so many contexts you could consider, like if you got enough sleep, if you've been skating consistently, you have that momentum, or if you don't, and something even like not having such a great setup. For example, mine, these trucks are just not good right now. I think the pivot messed up, the bushings aren't the original set, so it feels a bit loose, and point is, it's just an older board. That's okay, you can make the most of any setup, but it is important to understand that all these factors have a contributing to your session in one way or another. So, you know, for example, some tricks that I'm for sure going to land 1 to 3 tries is kickflip. It's going to be nollie 180. It's going to be fakie flip, maybe big spin. Right, I can clean it up, warming up. But the point is, you don't want to be going for the crazy tricks, or not even crazy tricks, but tricks you don't have warming up. For example, I don't have this trick warming up. I was very lucky make. I mean, I've already warmed up, to be fair, but point is, I'm not gonna expect to land that first try on a warm-up. I might give it a go, but if it doesn't go, I'll save it for the main session. Something where I don't mind a slight challenge. I'll land that trick 1 to 5 tries. That's okay for the main session, but for the warm-up session, you want to be choosing tricks that you have 1, maybe at the very most 3rd try. This is because you don't want to start off on a bad start, get frustrated too early, and then just ruin and just continue that mindset through the rest of the session. So now, very quick warm-up advice, just choose your, to summarize that warm-up advice, choose your tricks wisely and respect the warm-up. You're dialing yourself in, not going for the craziest trick right away. Now that you got your warm-up and understand how to structure it, you're right, because you got to choose your own tricks. You want to think about building confidence when it comes down to the main part of the session, the middle phase number 2. So building confidence for myself, this looks different for you, again, can be maybe doing like nollie. Oh, could be doing like nollie 360s. Let me do. Oh wow, okay. So this might be a little challenge. Okay, I could clean it up, but point is, if I land these tricks pretty comfortably, or I get to land them comfortably, they'll be contributing to building that confidence. Another one is if a nollie heel starts to feel good, then that's gonna build my confidence, because usually I can do this trick very well, as you saw that first attempt. I can clean it up. Let's see. Okay. That was a good snap. Point is, once I feel that, I'm like, damn, I'm actually getting somewhere. I can do a nollie heel good. Then I'll go in like switch pop, right? Switch pop, but making sure I get a good snap, can lift it off the ground. And so, point is, the intention you want to have in this middle phase is making sure you're building that confidence. I don't want to look as a silhouette. You want to build that confidence, so do tricks that you've already learned, you know you can land, but you know, it increases your confidence. You know, if we're at the skate park, tricks like Smith flip out, crook nollie flip, tricks like a tray flip down some stairs, hard flip down some stairs, that's really gonna build my confidence. And it's not to say you need to expect to land those tricks either, because sometimes that could just lead you down, kill that mental and have you frustrated throughout the main session. You want to build the confidence, so if it's frustrating you, maybe save that trick for the end of the session, so that, you know, once you land it, it's not such an energy drain, and you can still enjoy, you know, maybe a trick you want to learn, or even other tricks that you've already learned. And so here, a trick that would be in the middle of the session, or that I would do in the middle of the session on the stage, would be something like a nose manny nollie flip. That's not a trick that I'm gonna battle out, but that's a trick I'll land within 1 to 5 tries, maybe 10, right? And that'll still be okay. It won't drain so much energy, and I still have room in my energy cylinder for more tricks. So now that you got that understood, you can choose tricks that are 1 to 5, maybe 10 tries. Still leaves room for other tricks. It's super important that you understand you got to stay hydrated. You have to make sure you're taking your breaks, calming your resting heartbeat, taking a breath through your nose, in and out through your nose, and consider that, you know, structuring your middle phase of the session isn't picking certain tricks, just like it isn't picking certain tricks for the warm-up. It's mostly understanding how you should feel as far as when you're picking out tricks to do within that middle session. Sometimes if you're skating with other people, this might change, or if you're just even an other skater who skates vert or bowl, it's a little different. You might be skating with a crowd. You know, this might mean you kind of get into a challenge right away, especially if you're at a street spot. So it's very contextual, but for the most part, you want to make sure that you're building the confidence, so that if you choose to learn a trick or go for a hard trick during that middle phase towards the end, you're set up with a good good mental train of thought, and you increase your chances of actually landing, you know, that challenging trick or that new trick. And so now that we're done with those two, phase 1 and 2, warm up and middle session, you want to think about how you should approach cooling down. The way I approach cooling down is just choosing tricks that are very similar to warm-up tricks, but for whatever reason I don't do on the warm-up. So it may be like no complies, maybe switch back 180s, it might be back threes. Oh, bless you. I don't know, did you get that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, we got back threes. Well, hopefully you got the first one. I might do backside flips. Point is, and this also depends on how much energy you have left. Maybe that last trick in the middle of the session took out a lot in you, so maybe I won't even flip the board. I'll just do big spins, shove it, I'll just do switch ollies onto an obstacle or on flat. Maybe I'll play a game of skate, or maybe someone will tell me to try a trick and I get a little hype. Yesterday, someone was telling me to do a faking hard flip. Kind of tapped. But point is, you want to choose tricks that are very similar to tricks you would do in your warm-up, but for some reason you didn't get to, and it just allows you to finish off on a good note. That's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for making sure that we leave, or we finish the session with a good mental thought process, and then also feeling accomplished, feeling like we actually progressed, right? We enjoyed the fruits of our labor, which are, in this case, our tricks, you know, because we put a lot of time, effort into learning certain tricks and making sure you have a good session. So what I'm trying to say is, structuring your skateboarding is not so much choosing the right tricks, but it's more of building that intuitive process of understanding what each phase needs from you, which is, the first one is just to get the blood flowing, get connected with your board. Second one is build your confidence, and then third is kind of revisit tricks that are fun but you didn't get to on your warm-up, and then also have you leaving with a sense of accomplishment. But having said that, that's the end of this video. Leave a comment, leave, you know, some questions so I could elaborate on this topic, maybe in a future video, or even in the comment sections below. Having said that, you can hit me up at profe.carlos, talk about what coaching would look like for you, or even what a structured session would look like in your case, you know, considering your context, what you like to skate, your setup, how long you've been skating, so on and so forth. But yeah, having said that, I'll see you in the next videos. Peace out.